Hello and welcome to Mobile Heroes Uncensored, episode 18. My name is John Kutsier. My co-host is Peggy Ann Saltz, and today, like last time, we are on a road trip, this time to Eastern Europe, where gaming might be pretty similar to the rest of the world, but retail certainly isn't, and the growth drivers can be very different. Today, we're chatting with Vladimir, who leads user acquisition at Nakusi Games, and Sergei, traffic manager at Joom. You may never have heard of them, but it's a retail site that has over 350 million customers. But first, a few very bad jokes and some news. What's happening in mobile marketing news? Well, hey, Mobile Heroes Uncensored is kind of on this virtual road trip, right? I mean, we're doing European shows all of a sudden. Last time we were in Germany, now we're in Eastern Europe. So I figured we needed some European jokes. That makes sense, right? I mean, does it make sense?
Makes sense.
Absolutely.
I like if you
No,
found any,
no.
but yeah, it makes sense.
You know, I think I found a couple, and I think I found a couple that won't, offend anybody,
Alright.
especially our guests, but we'll find out, won't we? So here's one. And apparently the Irish think the English are a little bit boring. I don't know if you've heard this, but so they say, what's the English definition of a thrill, Peggy? What's the English definition of a thrill?
English definition of thrill. Something
Yeah.
that's awesome.
Yeah. Well, here's an English thrill, having an after eight at 7:30.
Ah, it's
Exactly. I know that is just breaking out of the boundaries there. I mean, it's just not okay. Also, the Estonians kind of think that the Finns are super introverted, right? Like
mm,
you just all up in themselves, not very extroverted, outgoing, all that stuff. So they have a saying. How do you know when a Finn is extroverted? Do you have any clues, Peggy? Any clues? Any clues? How do you know when a Finn is extroverted?
I'm just thinking what happens when they see alcohol, but I'm
This is a PG-13 show, Peggy, so we're not talking about alcohol or licorice,
uh,
vodka licorice, or anything like
in
that.
our
Here's how you know when a Finn is extroverted. They're looking at your shoes, not theirs.
um, Vladimir loves it.
Yeah, Vladimir's liking this. Sergei's going like, this dude is sucking. Wow. He is like, he would not have a career as a stand-up comedian. He is awful. Why is he not on the unemployment line? But I have a joke for Russians as well. And
Okay.
apparently some people think that Russians have too much money. I don't know. Maybe they have too much money. Maybe they spend too much money. I don't know. So this was, I think it was somebody in, I don't know, Netherlands or something was saying this. He's talking to his friend. He overheard, right? And he was overhearing a Russian guy who was telling his friend that he bought a scarf for $3,000 in London. And the response from his Russian friend was, idiot, it's 5,000 in Paris. So you could spend more, right? But anyways, awesome. Vladimir, did we offend you? Sergey, was that cool?
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. Are you from Finland? Sergey, are you from Finland? Is that the case?
No.
You're not Finnish.
No.
Okay. Excellent. Well, you know what, Peggy? It's not all just fun and games. I know you just want it to all be about fun and games, but we actually have to talk about some stuff. And we have some news that you want us to chat about, correct?
Absolutely. I mean, we pick out two of them. You'll weigh in on them, John, but hey, I want to hear it from Sergey and Vladimir as well. So, hey, Google just announced the end of last click attribution. This is it.
This is a really, really big deal. And of course, it's just an announcement right now, and who knows where it all goes in the entire industry. We're going to ask Sergey and Vladimir their thoughts on that as well. But basically, there's a massive change to Google Ads. They're moving to what they call data-driven attribution. If you haven't heard of that attribution model yet, nobody else has either. It's just something that Google invented right now. It's not clear exactly what that is. It's basically multi-touch attribution, but they're not specific on that. It's not linear with equal credit given to the touches. And so Google isn't fully explaining there. It does require significant volume. You have to have a lot of volume of advertising to make this work. I guess, Vladimir, I throw it your way first. Do you think this is coming to mobile as well? Do you think this is how we're going to be doing mobile attribution in the future?
Frankly speaking, so with the span of time, um, mobile attribution become not so easy. And uh, when I entered that market, let's say 5 years ago, it was uh, more or less clear how to attribute, how to measure events and stuff like that. And like each market, I suppose that everything should become better and better and easier, like for marketers. But nowadays, I understand that it's vice versa.
Yes, exactly. It's not getting easier, it's getting harder. It was super easy. Whether it was right or not, that's another question. Sergey, your thoughts on this?
Well, I think we should recreate our models and to rethink the way we're trying to acquire users. It's quite uh, different from now,
Hmm.
and it's not now only about some paid acquisition. It's trying to make all system work and some cohort analysis, not like per channel per campaign. So it's all rule changing changes, I should say.
Absolutely. Getting more complex all the time. Back to you, Peggy.
Another piece of news for you. I mean, we've been hearing about this for a while, right? Audio coming to advertising. Oh, it's exploding, and we're all listening to podcasts. We're on a podcast, John, right? Makes sense.
We-
Spotify, yes, we are. And Spotify is boosting its ad product now. That is going to be interesting to watch and maybe something for marketers as well. What do you think, John?
It is interesting. They doubled their ad revenue last quarter. So it's come off of a small start, but they doubled last quarter. Of course, that's easy to do if you're small, but I think they're got some reasonable scale there as well. They want more. They rebranded as Spotify advertising. It was Spotify for brands, which really wasn't very clear. What does that mean? They kicked off an ad campaign to advertise their advertising to advertisers to advertise on. So if you can follow all of that, that is kind of interesting. And their ads show people in a bubble, literally in a bubble, and say reach the most immersed audience. Because guess what? Like Sergey, podcast people listening to podcasts, they've got their headphones on and they're listening and they're in that bubble. So I guess my question, I'll start with you, Sergey. Could you see advertising in podcasts or maybe during internet radio for mobile user acquisition?
Well, I think it's not quite efficient channel for a Joom, but well, for some businesses it can be used. It's
Hmm.
I heard some ads even in some social networks like Contacte. They have ads in music, and it's kind of what Spotify is now doing. So it may work, but for me as a customer, it's not what I prefer to hear.
Interesting. Interesting. Vladimir, your thoughts?
So I represent gaming industry, and of course, freemium model, like the most spread. And I like ads, and maybe due to my job, maybe due to my willing to get the content without any payments. So of course, I like ad. And the most interesting fact for me in that is like how they will integrate it into the product. So ad might be I wouldn't say pleasant, but okay. And the only thing is how to integrate it into product. If they will reinvent something and it will sound great, I'm just for it. But if it will be like ordinary ad, it
Mhm.
might be something that was already on the market, and that means that nothing new will happen.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. And also, I guess the question is, how will you measure it? Will you go
Mhm.
incrementality? Will you go media mix modeling? It's hard to go last click in audio. So maybe Google's got some thinking there. But anyways, Peggy, we've been chatting for a few minutes with these people. Who are our guests today? Can you please introduce them?
Yeah, now we're gonna like have the unveiling, right? So we have, and you can flavor something when I call you out. We have Vladimir Ilchenko. He's coming to us from Minsk. He's the UA lead at Nakusi Games, which is a company making casual, hyper casual games, where he's responsible for a long list of areas, coordinating with the creative team to improve the quality of the ad creatives, for example, executing a strategy to drive higher volume without losing margin. And his colleagues, John, say he is, quote, always pushing the limits in order to get better insights on the data. He thinks out of the box, so we're lucky to have him here. And he isn't afraid of trying out new ways to scale up. So again, he's not afraid of what we might have in store for him today, John. So it's a great guest to have.
That is a great guest to have because we have a lot in store, actually. And here's the first thing we have in store for you. Tell us one thing you've never done, Vladimir, that you actually really totally want to.
The only one.
Oh, you can go two.
Okay, so skydiving is something that I would love to try, but have never done it before. So I've been high in the sky, but didn't decide to jump. So that's something that I would like to try.
Excellent. Excellent. What's the second? You had more than one.
Yeah, really got a bucket list here.
I will keep it for the second show.
Oh, wow. Keeping something in the back pocket there. Awesome. Well, on to Sergey.
Okay, Sergei Pustovetov coming to us from Moscow. He's traffic manager at Joom, which is a really cool, very well-known global e-commerce marketplace with more than 350 million users across 100 countries. Now, that's a massive company. Our guest has a similar story, by the way. If you look at his personal growth, he was born in a small town in Russia, moved to Moscow to attend university, started working as a tax consultant, then an owner of small business, and then coming into marketing. And he's here with us today. But when he's not doing marketing, it appears he's doing board games. He's a great fan of playing board games. That's a great fit with us, John, because I know you've got some games up your sleeve later on in the show.
Excellent, Sergey. So glad to have you here. And you know what? You made a good choice. I mean, taxes, accountancy, or mobile marketing. I mean, that's not a hard choice there. Tell us your most successful gold medal winning Olympic champion moment as a growth marketer.
Um, well, it's not an easy question because, well, you always try to make something great. Um, the main thing that I can say that when I'm starting to work in marketing, like with no experience, only from my side, from practical, and then from intern, I came to the current position or as a traffic manager, analyst, manager.
Okay. Okay. Very cool. Thank you.
We're going for the gold later, is what he's saying, John.
I get it. I get it. Okay. Well, we'll have to have another show so that we can hear from Vladimir, his second thing that he wants to do but has never done, and hear from Sergey on where the gold medal is going to come from. So, we wanted to chat about mobile growth from an Eastern European perspective. Maybe let's start here and we'll start with you, Vladimir. Compare the app market in Eastern Europe to other parts of the world.
Okay, sure. So as I have already mentioned, I represent gaming industry, and frankly speaking, as for me, I don't see a big difference between, I would say, Eastern market or let's say European, maybe American market in general. Of course, there are differences, but in general, so there is no big differences. We have the same games. I would say the same model of games, like freemium games, games with in-app purchases, with ads and stuff like that. So of course there are different players on that market. I mean, big companies, but in general, market looks pretty close. We don't have any restrictions. We don't have any regulations like in China. So market are pretty open. You can enter the market. And of course, we have big companies that assist in user acquisition, in monetization, and stuff like that. And also, big role here plays Google. So you can come. Speaking about paid user acquisition, Facebook as well, and other social networks. So markets are similar. That's, I would say, like the main idea.
Well, from my side, from the point of view of e-commerce market, well, their markets are very different. Even when we are trying to measure, for example, Belarus to Russia or to Kazakhstan or Ukraine, it differs very much in terms of average order value, in terms of costs of acquisition, in terms of retention rates, in terms of logistics, in terms of some legal stuff. It's very different even from country to country. Of course, we have different languages, different currencies. So we localize our app for every market. And that's the case even for Western Europe because we have different languages here. As for America, it's quite competitive here, and logistics is very different from what we see in Europe. And as for Latin America, it's quite even the more distinctive from European market because we have low costs of acquisition there, but the retention level of user is not so good. We see that there are regional players that can grow heavily, but well, it's very different from country to country for e-commerce.
That kind of makes sense, doesn't it, Peggy? Because I mean, games, we all play games, right? We're all over the world.
Yeah.
We all, and there can be some regional differences there, but everybody likes to have fun. And maybe you like some games better than others, but that can be, averaged out over the world. But e-commerce, actual, you know,
Mm.
buying stuff, that's pretty unique to cultures, isn't it? And nations.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking alone and now, of course, John, thinking about it, now you can use payments that you choose. So now it gets very, very interesting. And I've been talking with a number of Russian fintech companies who are like, yeah, this is going to be very local, very lucrative, as a matter of fact. We talk about what does Eastern Europe look like compared to the rest of the world? And so we're hearing gameplay is fairly similar. Commerce has its challenges. I'm going to keep with challenges and talk about the biggest challenges for you as app marketers in Eastern Europe. I mean, for one thing, you have also some different channels. You have, I believe it's Contact, Vladimir, that you're also a member on. So, there's different ways to get to the users. What are the challenges there?
So uh, I can touch on this topic. And regarding challenges, so just a small note from my side, like I have already mentioned, the markets are pretty similar. So all challenges that are facing all marketers all over the world regarding iOS 14.5 and later, we face here as well. So that's the first thing. Another thing, that's peculiarity regarding user acquisition and monetization. So we also have big companies here. We have social networks where we can acquire and find huge users. Of course, like different target groups, they join different social networks. So, and in Russia, we have Kontakte, we have Одноклассники, Facebook, we have, I would say that we have some social networks that are well known all over the world from one side, and from another side, we have our local ones. So Mail.ru also has own social network. And speaking about challenges, I would say the main challenge is to define your target audience and to find the best way to find it. Because as for us, speaking about ad monetization, it is pretty important to find your audience with great engagement, great retention rate, and of course, people who will be interested in ads, like we already discussed.
How about you, Sergey? What can you add to that? Because of course you've got commerce, and it's interesting. What are the shopping behaviors? They're going to be very different, but challenges in marketing in Eastern Europe?
Well, as Vladimir said, it's always about audience, and it's for commerce exactly too. We have different patterns from country to country, and in every country we have women and men. We have lovers of fashion and lovers for electronics. So it's the main question is what products we should show for whom, when, and where. There's quite marketing questions that well, everyday marketing questions. As for some specific challenges, it can be with prices because people here is very sensitive to price, and we should be aware which products are better than we see from competitors, and we should measure it and look on that very closely. And also it's delivery questions because we have to be sure that for that current audience, the delivery will be okay, so that they will retain with us.
If I can just follow up on that for a moment, because I was speaking recently to Namshi. So that's a marketplace in MENA, right? So it has Saudi Arabia and Kuwait and all of these countries. And I was speaking with the marketer there, and she was saying it's really challenging because some people are very, very price sensitive, and the others are a little bit like John's joke. They're almost like, hey, look how much I paid for my item, right? So I'm just wondering how that is a challenge maybe for you, because we're looking at global, but also across Eastern Europe, and there are different types of audiences. I mean, is there a rule of thumb where, people in, Latvia are doing this as opposed to people in Russia, opposed to people in, Estonia? Just to give a little bit of an idea, because we have a global audience and they want to be marketing to those audiences as well and learn from your experience.
I should say that the closer to Western Europe, the higher the average order value. It's like that correlation, but well, in every country you can find some audience that will really pay big money for the products they want to, if you can find it and if you can provide some good offer, not just like buy this.
That makes sense, actually, that there's the strata of different audiences and different layers of the market in every country. And I guess some countries might skew a little higher and some might skew a little lower, but you've got rich people and you've got less rich people in just about every country. Let's talk about localization. I mean, one of the challenges that we talked about with our previous European show is just getting the right localization to every country. And sometimes it's language, and sometimes it's a lot more than that because it's culture and other things like that, or even legalities. Let's start with you, Vladimir, on this one. Any surprises when you're localizing for Eastern Europe?
Frankly speaking, I would say that there is no any surprises because like gaming, it's a global stuff. It's a global thing. And of course, when we would like to launch globally, we understand that each market has its own specific things that we should take into consideration. And of course, we understand that there is legal part that are different in each geo. Of course, currency also, and we even don't take into consideration such thing like different currency symbols. They have different reflections in the app, and it's just user interface for us, nothing more. Of course, there are some legal things. Speaking about user acquisition, for example, in Russia, you should put age limitations for your ads. It's like 18 plus or 0 plus or 7 plus. So the only thing that you should know at once, and later you just take into consideration, and there is no any surprise. Because, for example, as for me, there might be some surprises if we are speaking about China market. So there are lots of local things that have unique stuff there. But for example, taking into consideration, let's say, games with the cars. So we have global brands here. Of course, we're speaking about anything that we have with the games, I would say, with the houses. So also lots of well-known brands all over the world, in Russia or in Belarus, in Kazakhstan, etc. So you can put those brands into the app, into the game, and it would also work for us. Of course, it would be like something pleasant thing if you can add something small regarding specific country. But speaking about games, casual games or even hyper casual games, I don't know such company who pays great attention to such minor things.
What about you, Sergey? Any surprises when you're localizing in Eastern Europe or elsewhere?
Well, it wasn't a big surprise because Joom is a Latvian company and a lot of employees are from Russia, from Ukraine. So it's just not a big deal to localize for Eastern Europe when you have a lot of employees in here.
What would people who are coming into those markets from outside be surprised by?
I think it um, it can be a bit, as Vladimir said, it's currency stuff. It's not so easy to localize product for Russian. Uh, well, I, I saw some examples with bad localization, and I think it's not working good, and you should employ some natives to be ready for use for Eastern Europe.
So that means no Google Translate or not only, right?
Yeah,
All right.
I have
It-
seen some nightmares with that. Yes. So we talked about some surprises in marketing. Now you're marketers, you're experts. I'd like to understand who you think is doing a great job in Eastern Europe in marketing. I'll ask you, Vladimir, is there someone you can say, maybe a company or even an individual for that matter, where you're like saying, yeah, that's on the mark?
So there is not so easy to answer because the very first thing is to answer the question regarding who is doing great. I would say that Dodo Pizza, they make a lot of things on the market. They have great marketers. As for me, because I read their cases, and so they have huge analytic team, or maybe not so huge in number of people, but at the same time in the job that they do from the first thing. Another thing, as for me, about great company, I would say Yandex, because Yandex, as for me, they have a lots of services, lots of opportunities. If you would ask me, where would you prefer to acquire users in Russia, I would say Yandex. If you would say for me, okay, what about monetization? I would say Yandex. If you would ask me about any services like taxi, food delivery, car sharing, and stuff like that. So lots of things, they have experience and they have their share of market there. Like we mentioned about Spotify. Okay, we have Yandex Music run, Yandex Radio as well. So they may be not so loud on the market, I would say, regarding ad and promotion, but at the same time, viral effect with Yandex is so huge because you can find lots of services that you daily need just in one company. You can just enter, let's say, App Store and then Yandex Food, and you will find lots of things that will be pleasant and would be sufficient for you.
Is it kind of
Interesting.
the WeChat of Russia?
I would say not yet.
One to watch, John. No, this is interesting. I love super apps, and they are coming, and it is the real deal. Of course, it might keep Sergey up at night. I don't know. Sergey, who's your favorite or who's doing a great job of marketing?
Well, I can say for different um uh, well, I would say about e-commerce because I am trying to be in course of water in ads. So I can say that Ozon is doing quite well. They always use some colorful stuff and they're trying to bring as many sales as they can. And it's very specific. They trying to promote some not so categories of goods. Even uh, some products, like one product, but whole marketing campaign about it. For example, uh, some mm, some technique from Philips. Well, and also quite good is Shane. Shane is not only for Russia, of course, but they're using very colorful uh, photos. They're trying to bring their products on models on in real life, and well, it's quite. I think it should have a high CTR.
Hmm.
Nice. Nice. Cool. Well, we made you work for a while. Now we have to have a little bit of fun. So we always play at least one game with our guests, and usually our guests have fun. We always have fun. So hopefully you will at this point. Also, you may have heard about the invisible Bitcoin. The invisible Bitcoin is one of Peggy's collection of thousands, which we award to the best guest. So the game this week is Ad Win of the Week. We show you 2 ads, and you tell us which one performed better. So I am going to share my screen here and bring up an ad. And I'm going to show you 2 ads and you tell us which one performed better. So this is your first one. Who should we make play first? Peggy?
I think for games, we're going to have Vladimir weigh
Gotta
in.
have Vladimir play.
And now I'm going to have him do it. Yeah, let's see.
Okay. Vladimir, we're having you play first. This is the first ad. It's in the social gaming space. The first ad is kind of this static image in the background, but raining coins there. And the second image is this one, and it's got a little pin drop, right? It's got a little mega win that pops up for you. Which one performed better?
Hmm.
Oh, uh,
Hmm.
I would say the first one.
And you would be wrong. The second one was 48% better.
Oh,
I have no idea why. We have this every single show where we have
oh,
literally the best marketers on the planet and they're making guesses about which one will win. And the first one looks more dynamic, right? It looks kind
yeah.
of nicer. There's coin money falling from the sky, maybe even Bitcoin. And the second one is just kind of blah and bing in your face with a little, but hey, there we go. There we go. So if our first victim was Vladimir, then clearly our second victim needs to be Sergei. So Sergei, we have something in entertainment now for you. The first is basically an emoji switcher, right? You see some emojis coming through there. It's short vid, sort of TikTok type thing. And then the second ad was this one. And this one is basically a loading screen, right? A
Hmm.
loading bar. Which ad performed better? This is A, which is emojis scrolling past, and this is B with a loading bar. Which one performed better?
Hmm.
Well, I would suggest it should be first.
I, yeah, I am 100% with you, but guess what?
It was the second.
Was the best one. 26% higher click-through rate. I mean, this makes no sense whatsoever. This is the lamest ad in the history of
Yeah.
advertising. A loading bar. That's the thing that you don't want to see. You never want to see a loading bar in an app or on a website, and yet that one performed better. I have no explanation for it, but it is what it is. Peggy, I'm gonna make you the victim for this one
Oh,
right
yeah.
here.
Okay.
Because
Right.
they've both done one, right? So, I'll see, can we have somebody choose right this time? And Peggy doesn't have the answer key here, so let's see
You
what
know,
we're doing here. This is in the
okay.
entertainment space, Peggy. Obviously, it's about movies, right? The first is
Right.
just a static image, stream your favorites, best selection movies, install, and just an image from a movie. The second one is kind of multiple covers of different movies scrolling through. So you get a sense of more stuff to see. Peggy, which ad worked better?
I would have to say the second because you have a feeling of choice. You can see more genres, a little bit more dynamic. I'll go with the second.
Peggy, you're going to make our guests doubt our truthfulness here because you are right. It was 20% better.
I was
So,
just thinking about how would I spend my evening, and the other one bit on the dull side.
yes, exactly. So,
Besides,
for the rest of your guys' story, Vladimir, Peggy wins her own Bitcoin back. I mean, like, hey, the
that's
rich
it.
get richer. What can you
Add it to my stack.
Exactly. Excellent. Thank you for playing. That was good. And you know what? It is amazing. Literally, as I said, we have the world's best marketers here. We ask them what they think. And I don't even think they're 50%. Maybe they're 50-50 in what's right and what's wrong, but it's not very good. That's why you test stuff, right? That's why you test stuff. That's why you throw it against the wall, see what sticks. And the mobile marketers nod their heads.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's the never give up. Never
That's
give
why
up.
we spend money.
I've even heard that mobile marketers, that you have to like, even when you say you hate something, you just like put it aside and maybe like 6 months later it'll come back. So it's like it never stops. It never leaves you. You
Yep.
never
Just
actually
test
say,
it.
just keep testing it.
Yeah.
I have this new ad
Yeah.
concept. It's black text on a black background, nothing else. And the image is also black. It's all black. It's basically a black square. Let's test it. In any case, guess what, Peggy? We do have to get back to work.
Yeah.
So I want to delve into some questions that are pretty topical right now around news. We already hit on them a little bit and got some of your perspectives. Sergey, I'm going to hit you up first on this one. Where are you on attribution for today and maybe the next, half year to 2 years as well? Are you kind of, is last click and MMP, what you're sticking with? What's the best option for now? Are you starting to look at incrementality? Are you starting to look at market media mix modeling? Where are you on attribution right now?
Well, right now we are using MMP. It's adjust. And well, for now it's still okay and easy for Android. And for iOS, we are using SCAD network. Well, it's not so easy here. And we are trying here to measure incrementality and trying to understand an ROI of that traffic using not only paid traffic, but to measure it with organic traffic and try to find some proportion of what should be the paid traffic and to make it all work and creating profit. So well, now it's like that, and in future, I think the Android should be same as iOS, and we will create some models to try to understand on not on personal level, but on some aggregated level.
Vladimir, what's happening for you in Nakusi Games there with regard to attribution?
So, of course, we have MMP partner, and I would say that nowadays we are focusing on Android, but at the same time, iOS is also a great opportunity for us. And SCAD network is something that we have to work with. And I would say that as I see, MMP will assist us in the near future SCAD network will be with us, and who knows what any surprises will be prepared for us from Apple or Google side.
Everything changes.
That's the universal constant. It's just like we were talking to someone, John, remember? It was like, what happened when you saw it drop? Oh, I cried. So, well, yes, it is a drama. I want to stay with that drama. I want to talk about iOS 15. Yeah, you just survived the last changes, but any concerns about private relay and measurement? I'll stay with you, Vladimir, for a moment because you brought up the topic of iOS.
Frankly speaking, as for me, we have apps and games that are primarily with monetization inside. And as for us, CPI is of huge importance for us. So either iOS 14.5 or iOS 15, as for me, currently we are on the same page. We don't see any bigger restrictions that will influence and impact us. So at this stage is already not so easy, not so pleasant, but we have to. The same will remain with iOS 15.
Yeah. So just dig in your heels, find a workaround. Sergey, what about you?
Well, it's pretty same situation. iOS 14.5 was something big different from what we lived before, and 15 edition is something that just same for us. We will still use SCAD network. We will still try to measure all efficiencies through cohorts and trying to mix it with organic traffic. So we'll see. We will test and work again.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting for you, Sergey, because we were talking about incrementality, media mix modeling, that sort of thing. It's pretty challenging because you're in so many markets as well, right? And for those, you need significant scale. I need some time, and you need to be able to separate out those markets. That's not super easy. What is interesting, though, is that Android is a very different beast in Eastern Europe than it is in Western Europe. There's some Western European countries, we've got almost 50%, 40% iOS. Eastern Europe is much more Android. How does that change your marketing? We'll start with you, Sergey.
Well, as for Joom, Android is the main source of installs, and it was before the 14.5. So we are Android first, and we are trying to to have it same. So iOS 14 was not so significant for us, but we still see a possibility to grow in Android and iOS. So even in Western Europe, we also try to buy not only iOS, and it was pretty for years.
Vladimir, how about you? It is quite interesting because often Peggy and I are chatting with people in the States, and they're really focused on iOS because that's a big chunk of their market, and it's also the highest value part of their market. Android is much bigger in Eastern Europe, but you're in multiple countries. How's this change your marketing?
So I would start here from the positive news. I would say that game developers and game marketers will cover both platforms. No time to worry. So both users will have opportunity to play and to have fun on your devices. But if to be more serious here, of course, iOS are also more valuable with higher LTV on our market as well. And you're absolutely right regarding the number of devices. Android devices are much bigger volume, but at the same time, we are taking into consideration LTV and iOS users are here. Also, speaking about some peculiarities, we have in-app purchases, and we have ad monetization. And when we're speaking about iOS, so we are approximately 95% sure that all payments that we see in the system, they are correct. Speaking about Android, there may be some fake payments, and that also we should take into consideration. And that's nothing strange for us or nothing scary, but that's the thing that we take into consideration when we are working with Android on Eastern European market.
Cool.
So I like to zoom out because different parts of Europe go at different speeds. So I'm based, for example, in Germany, where marketers are like, I'm really excited about the evolution of esports. I just came back from an event where everyone's like, this is great. If we can just get our brand in esports, for example, commerce, then we're home free. I'm curious about the opportunities in Eastern Europe. What makes you very excited as a marketer? What you see on the horizon, because we've already covered, the challenges in Eastern Europe. There's a lot of similarities with the rest of the world, but there are different speeds. Like, what is really pegging the needle in Minsk right now? If you think about Vladimir, what is exciting and you're looking out and saying, yeah, that's where I want to be as a marketer. That's the next big thing.
So frankly speaking, Minsk is the big city of mobile dev companies. So lots of different game studios of different sizes, either here or was born here. And I would say that strong community we have here in Minsk. I chatted with, I would say, Google, with Facebook, and people that I chatted with, they told me they were surprised with the amount of companies that are located in Minsk. So from the one side, I'm very excited regarding the city, regarding the community, and opportunities that are currently in Minsk. So
Mhm.
you can join company with any ideas, with any products, because you can find it here. But speaking about apps, speaking about users, of course, I hope that market will develop more. We will have more opportunities for user acquisition, for monetization. I hope that people will become more familiar with their devices. They will start using it more, and of course, we will have an opportunity to have more and more ways to communicate with the final user via devices.
hmm So users are becoming more sophisticated, and that growth is exciting for you. What about you, Sergey? What do you see on the horizon that gets you very excited, gets you up out of bed in the morning?
I think that in Eastern Europe we have quite good internet connection, and we have mobile first users, so it's quite easy to see some growth in few years, I think, in users or of any app. So in e-commerce also, I think there would be great possibility to grow, and we see that there are a lot of uh, strong big players trying to grow in Russia. It's, for example, AliExpress Russia. It's, for example, Yandex that are creating its market. It's Sberbank that created its Sbermarket. And there are a lot of e-commerce players in Russia trying to take some part of their market. So I think it's one of the that their market would grow. And of course, we see that competition here is not only just uh, for now, it's for the future share.
Cool. Well, this has been amazing, guys, and you have been incredible. One last question for each of you. We always try to get the top tip from each marketer for the goodie bag that we leave people with at the end of the show. Vladimir, we'll start with you. If you had to give one piece of advice to maybe an American or Western European company marketing its apps in Eastern Europe, what would it be?
So my advice will be like we have already covered. Testing is everything.
Testing.
What channel? What channels you can test?
Hang on,
Yeah.
it's our market.
I don't love it.
So you can try different sources. You can find different opportunities, different creatives. So everything should be tested.
Okay. Okay. Very good. Sergey, basically same question. If you had one piece of advice to maybe an American company, maybe Western European company marketing in Eastern Europe, let's say in mobile commerce, what advice would you give them?
Well, the main thing that we should look on, I think it's incrementality. You should understand, is that channel, is that placement or network or ad give you additional value, or you just getting something that you would get even without it.
Mhm.
So try to measure incrementality and try to not lose money and to advertise somewhere where you can't understand is it incremental or not.
Excellent. Well, thank you both so much, Sergey and Vladimir. Do really appreciate it. It's been a wonderful conversation, and thank you for your time.
Yeah, thank
Thank
you.
you too.
So, Peggy, we've been in Eastern Europe for this entire show chatting about mobile marketing in Eastern Europe and what people need to know when they're going there. There's also some mobile heroes in the news. Who's in the news, and are they Eastern European as well?
No, but some of them are from a different dimension, as you'll see shortly, John. I would
Great.
say when I was pulling this together, I thought, I think we've got a look-alike contest going here, but I'll get to that in a moment. So I'll kick it off with Aurelie Genet. She was formerly Trainline. Now she's Director of Product Marketing and Lifecycle Marketing over at Flo, a fertility app. So this fertility app is literally making waves. So Flo making waves. Closed a 50 million Series B funding round, and now they're
Wow.
opening up. Yeah, I mean, it was amazing. That was the seed was 1 million. And here they are, I mean, moving on their way and opening up new roles, new marketing, new opportunities. She's got it all over her LinkedIn feed, and we're sharing it here as well. So, hey, congrats, Aurelie. They're in order for you and your team. So,
$50 million
mhm,
after a $1 million seed. That's impressive.
that's impressive. I mean, it really is on the mark. And it's a interesting app. Of course, John, you wouldn't be interested, but I took a look at it. Maybe your daughter or your wife. I took a look at it. Really cool graphics, really user friendly. Put some good work there to use on the creative. So, but moving on to creative, that's a great segue. We have
Hmm.
Bjorn Videkull. Remember him? He was on a show, John. Remember?
Yes, Bjorn, of course.
Bjorn, and director of his own company. I looked at this. I thought, oh, that's an easy one to remember because it's Bjorn Videkull Performance Marketing Limited. So he's the head of his own company. Easy one to remember for him. You know, what company is my company? Oh, it's got my name. But he's not just into performance because you can see it here, John. He is into action. He is into action in a big way because he's got this podcast called His Last Action Hero. And latest episode, he's really happy with this. And as you can see, I think there's a reason that he chose this. It's like, I don't know if this was on purpose, but he looks the part here.
He
Mike,
does.
he does indeed, doesn't he?
He
It's got
does. Now, isn't Black Rain the movie set in Japan? Am I thinking the right
yes,
movie?
yes, yes, you're better than
Okay.
I am at it. So
Okay.
you know it.
Love
You
it.
know it.
Yep. Watched it.
1989, John. 1989, Ridley Scott, film noir, Black Rain. Obviously rings a bell with you. I have to check it out. And then
Mhm,
either way,
mhm.
hey, you got to tune into it. They are discussing big topic. Is Michael Douglas really the baddest renegade cop on the block, or is he just having a midlife crisis?
I have no idea how any of that relates to mobile growth, mobile user acquisition, or anything like it, and I have no idea if the message here is, I'm a really old guy who watches really old movies, but I'm super great at, new stuff like delivering mobile growth. I have no idea, but we'll just let him go with it.
We'll let him go with it. It's giving him something. It's feeding into the creativity on the side. Maybe he's got some different ideas about segmentation. How do you segment for people who are into 80s, just dripping 80s nostalgia? There's got to be a reason for it. Got to be a reason
I
for it.
guess, I guess.
Another one for you, Tom, is Thomas here. Thomas Hopkins, a little blast from your past. We
Mhm,
had him at
mhm,
Masterclass. We have him. We've
mhm.
actually interviewed him several times, John. Um,
Yes.
Now he is co-founder and CMO at SuperPeer. And so he's gone from super mobile hero to super peer. And here he is as a super dad, right?
Wow, wow.
Yeah. Then we've got Koa, I think, and Kai. And I'm not going to try and figure out which is which, but those are his children. And it's all about, I wanted to sing it, but I thought, I won't do this to you, John. It's all about RESPCT. I don't believe I did
Oh, you
that.
did almost sing it there. I gotta love
I
his hand. I mean,
RES,
that,
yeah.
the background there is perfect.
Mhm.
I love it.
Yeah, so it's all about respect. I was trying to do an Aretha, but I blew it completely. His post
Nobody
is
can do
all
Aretha.
about no, you can't do Aretha. I'm not gonna try. Not even at this hour of the night, John. Not even
Mhm,
close.
mhm.
It's all about being a great friend and mentor, and he believes that to do that, you have to gain respect and trust, and that means opening yourself up. So here's a glimpse into quality time with Ko and Kai, as I said, work-life balance, that's what it's all about, and bringing your whole self to everything you do. So he's doing it. He's walking the talk.
Love it, love it.
And therefore, a great segue, I think, to Janie Parasini. We haven't had her on the show. I'm dying to do it.
Yep.
Formerly UA at EA, and now
Mhm.
VP of Growth at Dapper Labs. This is one up your alley, John, because you're into this kind of stuff, right? NFT platform. Recently teamed up to launch digital video collectibles with the NFL. So blockchain and gaming, really cool stuff. I assume that's something you're
I love
watching.
it. I
Yeah.
love it, I love it. I mean, she's been everywhere. She's so good. I mean, she's been at DraftKings as well. Now
Mhm.
she's doing the whole NFT thing, and it's perfect for her because she's so into sports. My NFTs collection sold out, by the way, so I've got to create a new collection, and I think you
Cool.
have a video to share from her,
I
so
do
let me
indeed, because it's
bring that
all
up.
about being real. I said, all about bringing your whole self to work. Well, she does it all the time. It's all on her feed. It's all about not judging, being real. There are some people who know her as a badass marketer, others who know her as a
Mhm.
rising star in growth, right? But either way, it's the real deal. And she proves it here. And I'll tell you what, John, I'd raise my goblet of rock to her if I had one, right?
Wow, wow, I love it. I am searching desperately for her video and not finding it, but I think here we go. Awesome. Here is Jeannie. What is she doing here?
She's contouring, and John, you won't you don't need to be completely envious, but I was watching this saying like, "Holy shit, I wish I could do it like this." So,
Isn't that fast?
on that fast, that would get me places. Yeah, I'd never be late again. But no, it is an art. You don't have to worry about this, John, but it is like paint by numbers, and there's a lot of thought that goes into this. I can't do it that well, I'll tell you the truth.
So Janie shared this to her LinkedIn. She got massive
Mhm.
engagement and like hundreds of
Yeah.
comments, likes, all this stuff. What was her point here? What was she sharing it for?
She was sharing it to say, "This is the real me, I'm not a role model. I am who I am. Judge me, but don't judge me." And I think that's really great. I mean, stand up for who you are and do that. I mean, that's guts for women to to do that. Women without makeup
Mhm.
and then women doing their makeup. Hey, high five. All I can say. More power to her.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Well, Peggy, it has been a great show again. Thank you so much. And thanks to all of our guests. And it's been a ton of fun. Hope everybody loves it. Hey, if you want to be on Mobile Heroes Uncensored, I mean, you got to talk to Peggy, you got to talk to me, get a hold of us. We are on LinkedIn, we are on Twitter, and we're super receptive. I mean, we answer our, LinkedIn message requests like all the time, instantly within 30 seconds, even if it's 2
Oh, yeah.
a.m., correct?
Yeah, well, sure, sort of, John.
Sure, let's just say that.
Let's
Exactly,
just rein that
exactly.
one in again, but that might be you, but ain't me.
No, I think I have hundreds unread, but hey, if somebody connects to me, then I see it. So connect with us. We'd love to chat with you and we'd love to bring you on the show. And you know what? If you got a guitar to play, we've got people who do that. If you got great
Yeah,
jokes or really bad jokes, that's
like
perfect because
you.
I don't have to tell them. So that would be wonderful. That would make Peggy's day. And
Yeah.
hey, subscribe wherever you like to listen or watch.